More now on that TV branding story, which is expected to get the go-ahead on British television from the government this week. Joining me from our central London studio, Daryl Collis, the director of a company which specialises in placing products on television programmes. Thanks so much indeed for joining us, Mr. Collis. First of all, the mass of this is fairly obvious, isn't it? In this day and age, with DVDs coming out earlier and people are able to Sky Plus programmes and whiz through the adverts and so forth, there's got to be another way of finding revenue, presumably.
No, exactly, and the, advertisers and broadcasters have been pushing for product placement for a long time because it can generate a lot of revenue for both parts. A lot of exposure for the brands and a lot of revenue for the broadcasters, especially when advertising budgets are moving away from television.
The thing is, an individual movie can generate income from its own production. For Casino Royale, for example, a fifth of that was funded by product placement. But for a television broadcaster, obviously some programmes lend themselves to product placement more than others. Will the television company take the revenue from that, or does it just go to the companies that can do it? You can't, for example, have Pride and Prejudice with Darcy reaching for a Heineken, can you?
No, exactly. I mean, especially because that would look out of context and would stick and jar to the viewer. But that's a very good point, because obviously they've announced that they're going to look to do a consultation for product placement. But the question does lies, who's going to get the money? Where does it come from? I mean, for example, you take the X Factor, that's made by Simon Cowell's production company. So does he get the money for putting maybe a brand involved there? Or does it go back to the broadcaster, to ITV? So that's going to be a very big question that people are going to be asking. Where does their money go? Who gets it?
I mean, you do this for a living. How do you find the balance between the manipulation of the programme because of the product and the revenue it's generating, the compromising of creativity? How does that work?
Well, the way we work is we only get involved after the creative stage at Seesaw Media. The key thing for us is that the brand is a natural fit into the programme, and that's when product placement works and is most effective. The last thing we want is, like with your Pride and Prejudice example, for the brand to stand out and jar. So what we do is once we've spoken to the production, we get the scripts and we get contacted by them and saying, listen, we need some of your clients' brands to appear on the screen. Then we'll look at the script, review it, and if it's appropriate for our client, because obviously we do turn down a lot of stuff as well as accept a lot of stuff, then we'll only send the brand down and make sure it fits in naturally, because the last thing we want is a backlash from the viewer to say, oh, this sticks out awfully. I saw that. Negative publicity is not good publicity for our clients.
There's also a chicken and egg, I suppose, situation in the creativity. If I'm making a cop show, for example, and I decide that I want my SWAT team to drive Range Rovers because that's what they'd look good in and it would suit the whole montage we're creating, do I then go to Range Rover and say, how about you lending us 5 cars or giving us 5 cars? And they say, well, if you already want to do it, the price is going to go up, and so on and so forth. How does it work?
That is sort of, you're right, it's a chicken and egg situation with regards to that. I mean, obviously, for example, we had a classic example with one of our clients, Volvo. They were involved in a TV programme, and I think the script writers at these sort of stage say, right, we just need a 4x4, or we need a vehicle. They don't specifically write it in unless it's really determined that's the reflection of the character. So they can go to any brand they want, but at the moment what's happening is car companies are loaning their cars free of charge in return for being on screen, but in the future there's potentially a bidding war about which brand is going to pay more to have their car involved in the script.
Obviously, the soaps and the movies and the dramas and so will be rubbing their hands with glee, but raising that issue again of costume dramas or perhaps nature programmes, can they find themselves be left out in the cold because there's simply no way of placing a product, or could you get products into those kind of shows as well? Well,
we at Seesaw Media, we kind of pride ourselves that we can get our clients' brands into all sort of productions. For example, period champagne. Let's say you take a period drama. One of our clients, Moët & Chandon, you can get them into, if you provide the period bottles, the period labels, then you can secure them exposure within programs. So there's lots of opportunities to get brands in, but you just got to find a natural fit and don't force it in, and then it works.
Daryl Collis, thanks very much indeed. We'll watch with interest.